Hello, and welcome to our program. This is the Porch Ideas Network with your hosts, Dave and Mary Morris.
Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mary.
Welcome to our audio program featuring experts and fellow porch lovers who share tips for creating a fantastic porch and yard.
We are very excited to have you on our porch today, so let's get right to our topic. Well, today Dave and I are really honored to have Leisa Collins and Bruce Goodman on our podcast today because we are going to be talking all about bungalow homes and the arts and crafts movement.
Which we really like.
Which we really love. If anyone knows about a bungalow, they know that a bungalow is one of the major components of the front of a bungalow is a prominent porch.
There's a porch.
And that's one of the reasons why we love bungalows and the arts and crafts movement. So Leisa and Bruce, we were so delighted that we were able to come across your website and find you. Leisa and Bruce live out in California, and they have a website called Arts and Crafts Style, and they are passionate about the arts and crafts style and write all about it. So we just want to welcome you to our show and also to mention that Leisa is an artist and her artistry is displayed on their website as well. So welcome to our program this morning and welcome to our porch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
You are most welcome. Well, Leisa and Bruce, why don't you just start out by telling us just a little bit about yourselves and how you came to write a website all about arts and crafts homes.
How do we come to do it? Well, as you've seen on my website, I specialize in architectural art, and this has always been my passion, and it started back from New Zealand. And you know, New Zealand has arts and crafts homes and porches, and my mother, one of the homes we lived in was an arts and crafts, and you know, the movement has actually spread all over the world, so I always loved the arts and crafts homes in New Zealand. I did a number of those homes, and so Bruce and I sort of got interested here a few years ago, and that's really, we thought, oh, that's a great way to display the arts and crafts paintings and homes and sort of inspirations that I had done and crafted on my palette. And Bruce was formerly in construction, and so we thought, well, that's just a good match. Why don't we put together a website which really expresses what the arts and craft movement is all about and how, because it's more than just a style of architecture. It's a philosophy in a way, and it's a lifestyle, and it's something we endorse, and it's sort of like the old values. So we decided that was really something to get behind, and we wanted to put the site together.
Awesome.
Well, that's great.
It's a beautiful website.
I came from about 25 years of construction work. About 5 or 6 years ago, Leisa decided she wanted to relaunch her art career, and that's when we kind of put everything else aside and just started traveling and put that together. And the arts and crafts stuff is just a great match for that.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm a woodworker as a hobbyist, I guess, on the side. So yeah, I can really appreciate the arts and crafts style. We really enjoy it. Of course, if you love wood, you gotta love arts and crafts. So can you tell us a little bit about our audience, our listeners, we talk about Leisa, you mentioned, it's more than just the architecture itself, but it's more than that.
It's a whole philosophy, right?
So, and it fits well in today's society too. A lot of people want to live simpler and those kinds of things. Can you kind of describe for us what we mean by arts and crafts?
Yeah, sure. We are in California now in South Pasadena. South Pasadena is the home of the most beautiful array of craftsmen, same with its neighbor, Pasadena. But previously to that, when we started putting the website together, we lived in Alexandria, Virginia, right next door to a pretty famous arts and crafts community called Del Rey. And the thing I noticed, I was just, starting my career back in art and doing architectural art, and in this community of Del Rey, they all have porches.
Yeah.
It was built and formed around, in the 20s and 30s, which is the main arts and crafts blood era. It was a kid home. It grew up from a railway station that went through it. And, I noticed that wasn't it, Bruce? We loved going over there, and people were so friendly, it's so family oriented, and they're always sitting on their porches.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, we've had many conversations. You're just walking by and suddenly, oh, come on up here. And next thing you're having a tea on the porch with them. And it's just the most open, engaging community. And it sort of opened my eyes like, wow, they are really living the arts and crafts style in that it's homely. They all have beautiful homes. And then I started I got a lot of commissions for paintings of them at the same time, because they had the idea like you have to do real historic, but I said, this is historic, these are subjects. That was my take on it.
Well, great. And if I understand it right, it was the arts and crafts period in history came about as coming out of the Victorian age. And people wanted to get back to a more simple, more defined kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, the whole history of it is actually fascinating. The whole concept of a bungalow, for example, goes all the way back to India.
Wow.
And it has kind of spiritual roots in it even then. In the Bengal area of what's now India and Pakistan, the word Bangla is their word for house. And a bungalow is basically, any type of 1-story or maybe 1.5-story small housing structure. And back then they had these thatched bungalows. And the British came into that area and they started converting these to their use as housing. And they would often have a central area, everything would be compactly designed around a central area where the dining rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, and everything was surrounding a central living area. And if you look back at pictures of those places, they all had these low veranda type porch areas around them. So that's really the way back origin of the concept. And then you can trace it through history through the people involved. If you trace the history of John Ruskin, he would be the oldest one, and then William Morris in the British area, and then over to Gustav Stickley and Albert Hubbard in America. That's the progression of the whole history of the arts and crafts movement.
Well, that's great. And we have a lot of features today, as I understand it, that we have in our homes we just take for granted. Actually came out of the arts and crafts movement, with the built-ins were one. And I learned the other day that even the breakfast nook that is touted by many builders today came from the arts and crafts period.
That's right. It was just a very efficient indoor-outdoor type of a style. And I'll just read some simple things that come out of it. The ideals that go along with the arts and crafts movement are simple, refined aesthetics, simple, functional designs, things that went along with simple living. And then you mentioned the thing about in British, they were having the Industrial Revolution, so they were manufacturing basically cheap, fastly produced furnishings and stuff like that, the accessories, the furniture itself. And the guys behind the arts and crafts movement were totally against that. They believed in using your hands and building your own products and building them so they'd last a lifetime, and building them simply, functionally, and things like that. And that's where that comes into all this. And it's really a high quality things that you can see that there was joy in creating it. So it's kind of like a living, but also it's got a whole spiritual aspect to it.
Yeah.
There's a couple quotations I saw on your website that I thought kind of helps to sum up what you just said. And one of them is Robert Winters said that the popularity of Craftsman architecture lies in the fact that it looks like home. And to me, that really means a lot, because Dave and I recently had a home built, and there's so many homes nowadays that are being built that to me just don't look like home. I think that's one of the reasons so many of us love the arts and crafts style and bungalow homes.
Yeah, I grew up in a kind of a craftsman house. I remember as a kid because they had lots of build-ins. They had lots of wood in the home. Had a big porch on the front of it, and it's just really well built. And it stands today. I've gone past it before. It's still there, so it lasts a long time. But arts and crafts, we kind of think about that. The craftsman style, and Bruce, you're absolutely right. Is that you just can't find it today in modern construction. The types of craftsmanship that you can find in a vintage arts and craftsman style home, it just doesn't exist. It's not that the homes are any not good, but you just don't find that craftsmanship.
Yeah, it's pretty rare unless you can find architects and builders who specialize in it. That's the only place you can find it nowadays.
Yeah, and what's interesting, and I know that Leisa made a comment or inferred this when she was speaking just a few minutes ago, but some of the things that came out of the arts and craftsmen's period about the big porch and people walking down the sidewalks and stopping and seeing their neighbors. A lot of builders in the last probably 15 years, maybe a little bit more than that, but in residential areas now, and the subdivisions have tried to go back and recreate that atmosphere out of kind of a pseudo craftsman style. They have porches, and sidewalks, and some gas type lighting, and trying to recreate that as whole villages, whole communities built around that, and nothing like the real arts and crafts homes, but just the idea of being able to know your neighbors a little bit better and those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's right. You do see that. There is a trend towards that today, and I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, the only thing we're sad about is usually the porches are pretty small. That's they kind of look like an arts and crafts porch, but they're just they're narrow, that kind of thing.
You're lucky
so
if you can get 2 chairs on it.
Yeah, but they're trying to. They have the stone pedestals and the wood columns, and they try to mimic some of those features. But
and I think some of the builders think people are still driving horse buggies these days. The size of the garage doors.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
They're so small.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, gosh.
So, but talking about porches, arts and crafts porches, can you give us a few features of what a true arts and crafts porch would look like?
Yeah, some of the key features are like exposed wood, exposed beams and rafters, long overhangs, wood and stone elements, broad porches, wraparound porches, and also the windows often have like the multi-pane lights.
Oh yes, yeah.
And also the trim and the molding is more prominent and bold, and those are some of the key features.
Yeah, I think and usually the roof lines come off of the house. I mean, it's usually an extension, either the gable or a hip roof coming right off of the main roof instead of having a separate roof for the porch.
Yeah, and you can change up the direction that the slopes of the roof go. It can come towards the front, can go towards the sides. There's even like what's called a Craftsman airplane bungalow that's got a whole
those are pretty cool. Yeah,
upper section looks like a cockpit.
I think we have some of those
pictures. It's all
pictures.
like take the indoor living and connect it to the outside. Connect it to the earth and connect it to the community, and all the elements, look man-made. Like they were. The other essential ingredient back in the day was that the materials came from the local materials. Stone would come locally.
Yes. Yeah.
Wood would be sourced locally and things like that.
I was going to say another distinct feature of the porch, as Bruce was just explaining, it has all these aesthetic, beautiful elements, and it makes it very welcoming. And the other thing I've noticed back then and even today of arts and crafts owners is they have lovely furniture. They don't just have plastic, yucky throwaways on their porch. It's an extension of their home, and that's what makes it very attractive and very welcoming. You want to sit there. So they have lovely chairs that are comfortable, table. They have, lovely lamps and plants, flowers, welcome signs.
Stained glass is another.
Yeah, stained glass. I actually, just because I love portraits so much, and we didn't have the porch of our dreams, I did a painting of my ideal porch. right there on the website. And it has everything that I talked to Bruce and said, okay, what would you like in our porch? It has all the things we just mentioned. A lot of those things is in this painting, the stained glass window. The hanging chair. This is another thing that, the swinging chair.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's gaining popularity. A lot of people are putting that back on their porch, and you have to have a decent-sized porch to have that. But that's something that people used to love too. They'd read books, and they'd sit there and with their tea, and they just, swing away and talk to neighbors and enjoy their Sunday afternoon.
It's relaxing just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I look at a porch like that, and I sort of think, hey, I want to sit on that porch. I want to hang out on that porch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary said we travel around as you guys do too, and even our website we talk about a little bit is that it's hard to, when you're going down a road and you just do a double take if you see a beautiful porch. There's just something about it that it's just so welcoming to a home.
We take a double take as if the porch is not going to be there if we go. If we drive down the street, we're likely to turn back around right away to get a picture before the porch goes away.
Yeah, we're a little crazy that way, but Craftsman porches are just so welcoming. I think another thing too, and a lot of them that we don't have today on porches is that the wider steps. A lot of Craftsman porches, have that wide steps, which makes it a little bit more inviting than just the usually 6, maybe if you're lucky, 6 foot wide porches that porch steps going up to it.
Yeah.
My favorite is the wraparound porches.
Ours too. Yeah.
We love a nice wraparound. We have a small wraparound porch on our house.
Yeah.
We actually tried to make it larger, but the lot just wouldn't, we couldn't do it. But it's as large as we can make it. Yeah.
We make the most of it, though, that's for sure.
I'm sure you do.
And another quotation I saw on your website that I thought was really interesting by William Morris. It says, "Have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful." And I think that's that rings so true with the arts and crafts movement, is that either something is functional, that you're really using it, or it's beautiful, or just why even have it. And I can see this. I call
that quote the Zen quote of Craftsman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is something, it's good food for thought, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think so too, because, like you, we travel a fair bit, we've moved home. And when you do that a few times, it's actually a good thing. That quote comes into play because the truth is a lot of people live in a certain place for decades and they just accumulate all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's also it just becomes fussy. It's like the Victorian times, just stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you have to move, you're forced to confront, like, do I really need that? Is it beautiful? Do I love it? So those are the two choices you have to make, whether you keep or chuck. So when you move on and set up again, it keeps, it stops the whole process of accumulating things that you really don't need, that serve no purpose and you don't like. So you sort of, it's a natural selection process. It forces you to implement that, and that way your home looks a lot more uncluttered and it's enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of places you go into, just like you said, mentioned about Victorian homes, how ornate they were in that. Another interesting feature about how we transitioned from Victorian age into the arts and crafts period of time was that I found interesting was that in Victorian times the kitchen was kind of a separate entity because they usually had servants making meals and things, at least for the upper class. And then when we went to the more simpler times, the arts and crafts periods, is that the lady of the house ended up cooking meals, and that created the need for a better kitchen and created the need for countertops, and then the openness, because not only was she in the kitchen working now, but she also had to watch the children. So it opened up this idea that we needed a view from the back of the house to the front of the house. And so I thought that was just an interesting, transition between the two eras.
That's right. And also the other feature of arts and crafts homes is that they have passageways that go right through the house as a ventilation point. So you could open all the windows, the doors, have screens on them perhaps, but it would keep the house ventilated and also very open, again, inviting, but it would be comfortable to live.
Yeah, that whole open style is what kind of, when we built this house, is kind of what we did, is opened up the whole house. So yeah, we really like that.
We have that
feature.
open floor plan.
Right, it's the outdoor-indoor concept.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why the porch is so important in the Craftsman designs. Is there's two things really. It's an outdoor gathering place, and it's also the connection to the outdoors and all the landscaping and gardens, and it just makes it a key point in the design.
Yeah,
And that's what we love so much about it.
Do you come across many unique porches on the back side of the houses?
We don't. I mean, we haven't, because we normally, can't see that through there. We haven't noticed that as much. Although back porches are popular, it's harder for us to cover that because we can't get to them.
But I think they're popular for the outdoor, like the outdoor kitchens and fireplaces,
which has gotten really big now.
That people can
what I've noticed is it's in more modern times. It's turned more into like you have a deck on the back of your house.
Yes.
Yeah, transition from the front to the back. That's absolutely true.
Some of the old Craftsman houses, you'll see like full porches, front and back.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, yeah.
You're on the back side of the house, and you feel like you could be on the front side of the house.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Then you can gather on the back side, and I just really like that, as opposed to just a kind of a cheap wood deck.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, back porches, yeah.
Back porches usually have a little more privacy than the front porch.
Front porch.
Yeah.
For inviting friends over or whatnot. We're getting close to where we're going to wrap up, and we wanted to make sure that we got to talk a little bit about Leisa's artwork. One of the things that really intrigued Dave and I when we came to your website was that all the pictures that we saw on your website are paintings of Leisa's, watercolor paintings, and they're beautiful. And Leisa, I know that you are commissioned sometimes to paint people's homes or historic homes. Just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Sure. Yes, I am. Like I said, my passion is architectural art. I use a technique of pen drawing, like an ink pen drawing, and then I do a watercolor painting on top of it, which is perfect, I think, to represent architectural subjects, especially ones like Craftsman, which have all these lovely details, stonework, woodwork, features on their porch and overhangs, all that sort of thing. So I never go past a detail of aesthetics and beauty that is there, and I include all that, all the garden, the landscaping. I think the important thing about doing paintings of homes for me is it isn't just about the home, it is about the entire environment that you create around your home. The pathway leading up to it, the chairs on the porch, all these sort of things. So I've actually done historic homes, buildings, and all sorts of architectural style in 43 states now. So I get a steady stream of requests and commissions every week, actually. But arts and crafts, I must say, has always been my favorite. And I've done literally hundreds and hundreds of arts and crafts homes across America.
Wow,
So,
that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Well, I can't think of a nicer gift for someone than to give them a painting, a drawing and a painting like you do of their home. That's so personal.
Yeah, especially when the family's grown up there, and it preserves all those wonderful family memories and those happy times. And so a lot of couples love to get a painting. They enjoy it for themselves, but they often I offer the service of having prints made and making note cards.
Oh, that's neat. That's awesome.
That's very neat.
The image of the painting, so they have their own real note cards.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very good. Would you just take a minute or two to tell us how our listeners can get to your website, both of your websites, and how they can get in touch with you?
Sure. So it's Arts and Crafts Style, which is hyphenated, and that's our website, the Arts and Craft website, and then my website, which is sometimes easier to reach. If you just put Leisa Collins, and it's Leisa Collins, that also directs to my website, and you can just go and see all the different galleries of house portrait styles and go from there.
Very good.
Very good.
Well, we really appreciate having you with us today. We had a lot of fun. We hope you did too.
Yeah, we did. It was great. I really appreciate you asking us.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for joining us on the porch, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thanks for what you're doing, too.
Oh,
okay.
you are
Thank
so
you.
very welcome.
Today's show was brought to you by PorchIdeas.com, and we hope you stop by to get ideas for designing, building, and decorating your porch.
You have been listening to the Porch Ideas Network. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast to get creative and innovative ideas for your porch and yard.